JinPingMei Original Version Chapter 39. Send a famous Dharma official to wear Taoist robes and send birthday tributes too. Pay homage to an emissary. It is said that Simon King rested in Pan Jinlian's room that day. The woman couldn't wait to get into his belly, clinging to his pillow in all kinds of ways, with thousands of cages. Tears when replaced for. Her words were gentle. She really expected to buy him live in the heart of a man. Unexpectedly, Simon King stabbed Wang Liuer outside and bought him a house to live in on the east side of Shizi Street Stone Bridge. There are 2 rooms on the facade and 4 floors at the bottom. The first floor is for guests. The first floor is for worshipping Buddha statues and ancestors. The first floor is for housing. And the first floor is for the kitchen. Since he moved here, the neighbors knew that he was Simon King's clerk, and they didn't dare to neglect him. They all sent him tea boxes and went out of their way to congratulate him. The middle-aged people call him Brother Han and Sister-in-law Han. Those below are called Uncle and Aunt. When Simon Qingdan came to his house, Han Daguo stayed in the shop and taught his wife to play freely with him. Everyone in the neighborhood knows about this, and they are afraid that Simon King is rich and powerful, and no one dares to mess with him. I saw that Simon King also came to visit 3 or 4 times in 1 month, and the fight with Wang Liuer was as hot as charcoal. Look at the 12th lunar month. Simon King was at home sending festive gifts to the prefectures, counties, military guards, and main guards in Tokyo. A disciple of Wu Daoguang from the Jade Emperor Temple sent for boxes of gifts, including the Heaven and Earth Shoe, the New Year Talisman, and the Zizao Gao. Simon King was having dinner in his upper room when Diana brought in a note that read, Wu Zongzhi at the Wanghuang Temple path. Immediately bowed his head. Simon King looked at it and said, a monk, teach him to worry again. He ordered Diane to call the book boy. The son gave him 1 tael of silver and gave him a reply. Yunyang was nearby. And because of the topic, she said, a monk, you want to accept his gifts at the beginning and end of the year, and ask him to fulfill the wish you made for Sister Lee's child the day before yesterday, Simon King said. As soon as you mentioned it, I promised you 120 points, and I forgot about it, Yunyang said. It turns out you are a big liar, who is willing to forget. You just made a promise but didn't mean it. Next, the gods will remember it. The angry child chirped all day long, thinking it was him who had not repaid the wish. Simon King said, since I said that, I will repay this vow in the Wu Daoguang Temple in the 1st month, that's all. Yunyang said, Sister Lee said yesterday that this child is a little sick and wants to ask for a nickname. Simon King said, where can I ask for a nickname again? Just send the name to Wu Daoguang Temple, come. He asked Dan, who in his temple is here. Dan said, it's his 2nd disciple Ying Chun who came with Li. As Simon King walked out, Ying Chun kowtowed quickly and said, my master pays homage to my father all the time, but I don't show any filial piety. I asked my young apprentice to come and give some gifts to my father to reward people. Simon King returned only half of the gift and said, thank you, master, for your generous gift. Let him sit. Ying Chun said, how dare you sit on the trail? Simon King said, sit down, I have something to say to you. The Taoist priest wore a small hat and a green cloth straight skirt. He humbled himself several times, and then moved the chair to he sat down next to him and asked, what are your instructions, Dad? Simon King said, in the 1st month of the year, I have some vows. If I want to ask your master to return the child to me, I have to give him a name. I don't know your master. Do you have time? The apprentice quickly stood up and said, Dad has given me an order. If you ask me anything, I don't dare to agree. Excuse me, Dad, when is the date of the 1st lunar month? Simon King said, it will be set on the 9th day of the lunar month, sir. Let's do it on the 1st day. The disciple said, this day is John's birthday. Also, according to Jade Box, I asked Mr. Liu to celebrate the 5 blessings. It is very good to build a house and build a memorial ceremony. How much does it cost to pay for the memorial ceremony? Simon King said, in the 7th month of this year, I made a promise of 120 cents for the birth of my son. The disciple asked again, how many Taoists will be invited that day? Simon King said, 16 people will be invited. After that, put the tables on the left and right to wait for tea. First, he gave him 15 taels of sutra money, and another 1 tael as a gift, and then said, "Your master doesn't need to prepare for the gifts from the Taoists. I'll even bring the incense and candles here." The Taoist priest he was pissed, and he was about to. I went out and thanked again and again, and kowtowed again and again. On the 8th day of the first lunar month, Daener first sent a stone of white rice, a load of jinjong, 10 pounds of official candles, 5 pounds of sandalwood and horse tooth incense, and 16 pieces of raw eye cloth for lining. He also sent a pair of Beijing duan, 2 jars of southern wine for fresh geese, for fresh chickens, a pair of pig's hooves, a leg of mutton, 10 taels of silver, and a gift of name to the official brother. Simon King posted a message in advance, asking Uncle Wu, Uncle Hua, Earl Ying, and Zishi to accompany him. Chen Jingji rode on his horse and went to the temple first to pay homage to Simon. On the 9th day of the lunar month, Simon King did not go to the Yamen. He went out of the east gate to the Jade Emperor Temple, riding a big white horse with his servants following him. From a distance, I saw colorful treasure flags and a tent crossing the street. After a while, I got off my horse in front of the mountain gate, opened my eyes, and took a look. It was indeed a temple, but see, the green pines are lush and the cypresses are lush. Gold nails decorate the red doors, jade bridges cast low shadows on the palace officials, green tiles have carved eaves, and embroidered scarves hang high over the treasure cells. There are 7 main halls, with golden books hanging in the middle, 2 verandas, with colorful paintings of gods and generals. Outside the 3-day gate, Li Lu and Shi Kuang looked ferocious, and in front of the left and right steps, there were fierce tigers and green dragons. In front of the 8 treasures hall, there is an immortal jade girl standing in attendance, and on the 9 dragons' bed, there is an indestructible golden body sitting. When the golden bell strikes, the 3,000 worlds are all taken refuge. When the jade chime rings, all the phenomena are at their peak. In the K-Ocean Pavilion, the wind blows the sound of steps. In the performance altar, you can often hear the sound of immortal pendants in the moonlit night. Since then, it has become the true Purple Mansion. Where can I find Peng Lai? When Simon King entered through the main gate, he saw a 7-foot-high vermilion plaque on the meteor gate, with 2 rows of door pairs, and a large inscription. The ecliptic sky opens, the auspicious opening of the 9 heavens opens, and the gold and green cover is used to extend grace. The Xuan altar is bright with the sun. Visit the banners of all saints and recite the Baoji Yao chapter to explain it. When we arrived at the treasure hall, there was a 24-character inscription hanging on the altar, which was written in a big book. Ling Bao thanks heaven and earth, repays the country for kindness, turns the jade pivot 9 times, pays tribute to the alliance, and sends names, and good luck fills the altar. A couplet on both sides. The innate establishment of the pole, admiration for the majesty of the great road, and the profoundness of Yangshan. Emperor Hao lives respectfully, appreciates the wings of King Zhu, and reports his great kindness. When Simon King entered the incense table in the altar, a little boy next to him washed his hands in a basin and knelt down to offer incense. After Simon King bowed and knelt on the altar, he saw Wu Daoguan wearing a jade ring on his head, a 9 young thunder scarf, a sky blue 28-year-old crane cloak with large sleeves, and a ribbon tied around his waist. He hurriedly came down from the sutra banquet and said to Simon King, "The little Taoist is wrongly loved by my father." Received heavy gifts one after another, which made Xiao Dao disrespectful and felt ashamed. It was my brother who sent me his name, and Xiao Dao's gifts should be congratulated. It would prolong life. Why did I have such a generous reward from my father? I was really ashamed. The scriptures were too generous, making the path even more uneasy. Simon King said, "It's hard work, but nothing can be paid for it. It's just an expression of a small gift." After reciting the ceremony, the Taoists on both sides came to pay their respects. On the one hand, I invite the abbot outside. There are 3 factory halls called Song Hakshuan, where tea is waiting. As soon as Simon King sat down, he ordered the chess boy, "Get the horse to pick up your second father." "I'm afraid he doesn't have a horse." Why haven't we come yet? Diane said. The donkey that my brother-in-law is riding is still here. Simon King said. Forget it, ride quickly and pick him up. The chess boy agreed and went. After Wu Daoguan finished reciting the sutra, he came down to hand out tea, sat with Simon King, and said, Dad, please be more sincere in your respect for God. I have been up since the 4th watch, and have gone to the altar to recite various immortal sutras. Today, I have done 3 dynasties and 9 rounds of Jade Shu Dharma. Completely done. I also wrote the official brother's birthday in a separate document and named it in front of the 3 treasures. He named it Wu Yingyuan. I will always maintain wealth and prosperity. Here on the trail, I added another 24 points to thank heaven and earth, and 12 points to celebrate God. 24 cents are recommended for death, and a total of 180 cents are listed for the memorial ceremony. Simon King said, How troublesome you are. After a while, he beat the Dharma drum and invited Simon King to come to the altar to read the documents. Simon King changed into a red and colorful lion patchwork suit and tied a gold rhinoceros horn belt around his waist. When he arrived at the altar, there was a crimson robe beside him to express his love. He first recited the intention of fasting. He lived in the archway of King County, Shandong Province in the Song Dynasty, and prayed for blessings. In honor of the security guard, Simon King, a trusted official, was born on the 28th day of July in the Bingyan year, and his wife was Wu. She was born on the 15th day of August in the Wecan year. Confessed, there are still treasures. The path has not been added, Simon King said. You only add Li. Jian was born on the 15th day of the first lunar month of the Xinhui year, with the same male official brother. On the 23rd day of the 7th month of the Bingshan year, Shen Shijin was born. After reading the confession, he read, Bring your family and others to surrender today and pay homage to Jin Hongzhao. Fu Nianqing was a mediocre student with no talent. Every time I go in and out of my daily life, I feel the protection of the dragon and heaven. When the weather is cold and hot, I am always supported by the divine. He was assigned to the martial arts class, and he was appointed as the Imperial Guard. He was favored by Nguang and enjoyed the abundance of talismans. Therefore, King Zhao was built, with a total of 24 points, to repay the great kindness of heaven and earth, and to reward the emperor for his great blessings. I also performed the 12th position of the King Zhao ceremony to celebrate the emperor's birthday. On his birthday, introduce the 5 blessings to achieve prosperity, and fly down from the heavens. On the 23rd day of the 7th month of the year, the concubine Li gave birth to a son, a male official, and she wanted to pray for a safe and happy delivery. I also wished to send the male official brother to His Highness Sanbao, give him the name Wu Yingyuan, tell Zhu Qingjia to be 120 points, and continue GQ's heir. Yin replaces with to ensure that his lifespan will be extended. Attached are the souls of 3 generations of Ximen family members, the ancestor Ximen Jingliang, the descendant Li family, the first Kaozi Mainda, the descendant Jia family, and the former family member Chen family. Therefore, by cultivating the 12 points of Qingjia, the blessings, Taoist power, and all the prescriptions can be realized. A total of 180 places were listed for the immortal Zhao. They were raised to transform into singles, and the gifts were cancelled. On the 9th day of the first lunar month of the 3rd year of Xuanhe's reign, I would like to visit the Jade Palace of Great Compassion, build spiritual treasures, thank heaven and earth, repay the country in alliance, celebrate the gods and security, send my name to the Jade Palace, and spread good luck. A full day and night of fasting. The secretary of the Yansan realm, the emperor of the 10,000 heavens. One of them is Zhenan, Si Shigong and Deji. With unified capital and Taoist power, blessings will come. Sincerely. After announcing the intention of the fast, many documents, talismans, and confessions were laid out. Please read them one by one. There are 1890 in total, which are very neat and detailed. Also, Guangir sent many documents, talismans, and ultimatums under the shade of Sanbao, and I had no time to read them carefully. Simon King saw that Dao Guanwu was very troubled, so he burned incense and drew documents in front of the case. He asked his left and right to hold a ruler and draw calligraphy with Daoguan Wu. Wu Daoguan insisted on resigning repeatedly, and then ordered the boy to accept it. Then a Taoist priest beat the Dharma drum toward the corner of the hall, like a spring thunder. All the Taoists gathered together, and a group of music started playing. Wu Daoguan wears a red and 5-color Dharma cloak, wears red shoes on his feet, holds a toothwad in his hand, issues documents, and goes to the altar to summon the generals. Bells are ringing on both sides. The arrangement led Simon King into the altar and offered incense to the left and right sides of the 3 treasures case. Simon King opened his eyes and looked. Sure enough, the altar was laid out neatly, but see, the positions are divided into 5 directions, and the altar is divided into 8 levels. The upper part offers 3 invitations to the 4 emperors, the side is divided into 8 poles and 9 sky, the middle is mountains and rivers, and the lower part is the officials of the underworld. The fragrance is filled with auspicious mist, and thousands of painted candles are flowing, flowers are gathered in brocade feast, and hundreds of silver lamps are spreading their colors. The Heaven and Earth Pavilion has a high feather canopy. The Jade Emperor Hall is densely covered with banners and flags. When the golden bell strikes, the high-ranking master plays the role of the Void Emperor in tiptoe. When the Jade Pendant rings, everyone talks about going to the altar to pay homage to the Jade Emperor. The crimson gauze clothes. The stars are brilliant. The beauty is covered with gold and green. The god general who oversees the altar is ferocious, and his meritorious deeds are fierce and brave. The green dragon faintly comes to the ecliptic, and the white crane flutters down from the purple sky. As soon as Simon King came down from the altar to burn incense, he was invited to sit in the Songhakshuan Pavilion where brocade carpets were spread on the floor and animal charcoal was burned in the stove. After a while, Count Ying and Seaside arrived. After the song was finished, each person was given a star of tea money and said, "I'm going to send you some tea. It's a long way. These little thoughts are just what I need for a cup of tea." Simon King didn't accept the answer and said, "No, it's a long way. Annoying. Zishan asked you to come and sit with me. What are you doing for a living? I'll have some tea here at Wu's house." Earl Ying quickly sang again and said, "Brother, is it true? I always return it. Just take it." Yin looked at Seaside and said, "It's you who do this business. I said I won't accept it, so I took it out and provoked him to say a few words." After a long time, Uncle Wu and Huaziu arrived. Each person came to order tea with 2 boxes of fine tea and snacks, and Simon King ordered Wu Daoguan to accept them. After tea, we set up a vegetarian meal together, with salty vegetarian food, snacks, soup and rice, which was very rich and clean. Simon King had breakfast with him. It turns out that Wu Daoguan called a storyteller to talk about the Western Han Dynasty commentary Han Manhui. Wu Daoguan handed out the documents and came to sit with him and asked, "Brother, are you coming today?" Simon King said, "That's right. He's still a kid. I'm afraid the long road ahead will scare him and he won't be able to come. By noon, bring him the clothes he is wearing, in front of the 3 treasures. If he has been photographed, it will be normal." Wu Daoguan said, "Xiao Dao also cares about it like this. It is best." Simon King said, "It's nothing else. He is just a little timid." At home, 3 orphan maids and even the foster mother took turns to look at him, but they were just afraid. Cats and dogs didn't dare to come to him. Uncle Wu said, "It's so easy for the children to feed themselves." Just as he was talking, Diane came in and said, "And Gui and Aunt Yin sent Li Ming and Wu Hu to bring tea." Simon King said, "Tell him to come in." Li Ming and Wu Hu knelt down with 2 boxes and opened them. They were filled with dinky cakes, pine flour cakes, white sugar longevity cakes, and rose rolls. Simon Qingju ordered Wu Daoguan to take it away, because he asked Li Ming, "How do you know this?" Li Ming said, "When I saw Uncle Chen riding on the road this morning, I asked him about it. And I found out that my father was doing good things here today. I will tell you when I get home." Sister Gui and Third Ma said that they came here after making an appointment with Sister Wu Yin. "I wanted to come to see you in person, but I didn't get it. This course tea is just a treat with my father." Simon King said, "You 2 are waiting for the meal. Wu Daoguan asked the two of them to go down and have their own place to sit, and even his subordinates had a good meal. Stop talking nonsense. At noon, after paying homage to the bride, Wu Daoist official prepared a large table. A jar of Jinhua wine, his brother's green satin gauze bun, a black silk Taoist coat, and a small shirt of green cloud satin, a pair of small socks of white silk, a pair of small shoes of Qinglu silk with a flat face, a yellow velvet sash, a yellow clue under the position of the three treasures, a purple clue in front of the descendants, and a pair of silver necklaces, engraved with the house is filled with gold and jade, long life and wealth. And a red silk talisman is written on the non-yellow silk talisman, with the characters Tai commanding orders, Piqian and health written on it, which is tied on the yellow thread, and is served in a square plate. For more plates of soup and fruit were placed on the table. The boy was sent to wrap up the sutras and scriptures on red paper. He recorded the rituals performed in the 3 dynasties and the festivals. Simon King was asked to read them before he put them into the box. A total of about 8 loads were delivered to Simon King's house. Simon King was very happy and quickly sent the chess boy to his house to reward the Taoist boy with 2 handkerchiefs and 1 tael of silver. Let's say that it was Pan Jinlian's birthday. Wu De Jinzi, Grandma Pan, Miss Young, and Sister Yu were all sitting in Yun Young's upper room. Seeing that the temple had brought food, many soups and fruits, and gifts, for tables had been set up, but they couldn't fit them all, so they all came out to watch. Jinlian said, "Sisterly, why don't you come out and take a look? Your son's master has come to the temple to bring gifts, and he also has his little Taoist crown and bun, and his Taoist clothes. Oh, look, it's small shoes again." Meng Yulu walked forward, picked it up and looked at it in his hand, and said, "Sister, you see that the Taoist family is also very sophisticated. These little shoes, with white silk soles, are all covered with inverted needles. The locks are also very delicate. That's good." I said he dared to have a wife. Otherwise, how could he be so good at stitching? Wu Yunyang said, "I can't tell. He is a monk and has a wife there. He must have hired someone to do it." Pan Jinlian took it and said, "Taoist priests have wives. Master Xiang Wang and the great master know how to pick good sweat towels. Could it be that there are also men?" Aunt Wang said, "Taoist priests' houses, cover your head and don't go there. It seems like you can recognize this monk family by his actions." Jin Lian said, "I heard that behind the Guanyin temple where you live is Tuanming temple. As the saying goes, if the male monk temple faces the female monk temple, there will be nothing wrong," Yunyang said. "This 6th sister is so honest." Jin Lian said, "This is the purple thread lock sent by his master and his mother-in-law. This is also the silver neck talisman, with 8 characters printed in silver on it. It is beautiful. On the back is his name." "What is Wu Yuan?" The chess boy said, "This is the Dharma name given by his master, Wu Ying Yuan." Jin Lian said, "This is the word Ying." She called out, "Big sister, the Taoist priest is so rude. Why did he change the child's surname?" Yunyang said, "You don't think it's rude." Li Ping'er said, "Go and pick up your son. Put on this Taoist clothes. I will do it every time. Let's take a look." "Okay," Li Ping'er said. "He just fell asleep, and you brought him out again." Jin Lian said, "It doesn't matter. Just rub him to wake him up." Then Li Ping'er was really gone. Pan Jinlian, who knew how to read, took out the red paper bag and pulled out the scriptures that were sent to him. When he saw the Wu family who lived in the same room under Simon King above, and only Li family next to him, there was no one else. He felt a little unhappy and showed it to everyone. "You're talking about a 3rd-class strongman. Do you think he's partial or not? It only says having children, and all the things I didn't count were put into redundant names." Meng Yulu asked, "Do you have a big sister?" Jin Lian said, "It's funny not to have a big sister." Yunyang said, "That's fine if you have one. It's just average. Could there be a group of people in your family who also write?" Offended don't Taoist priests laugh. Jin Lian said, "Am I always Liu Zhainer's ghost? Compared with that untalented one, that one was not raised in 10 months." Just as he was talking, Li Ping'er hugged brother Guan from the front. Meng Yulu said, "Bring the clothes and wait for me to put them on for my brother." Li Ping'er was holding Li Ping'er while Meng Yulu put on a bun for him, a necklace and ropes, which fooled the child into thinking nothing. I kept it closed and didn't dare to vent my anger for a long time. Yulu put on the Taoist robe for him. Wu Yunyang told Li Ping'er, "Take this sutra, take it to the Buddhist hall behind, and burn it at home." Then Li Ping'er went. Yulu hugged the child and said, "Wearing these clothes, you are just a little Taoist priest." Jin Lian took it and said, "What a little Taoist priest. You are better suited to a little taiyer." Yunyang said sternly, "Sick sister, what are you talking about in front of the children? You will almost die." Jin Lian was speechless and fell silent. Once, the child was scared with his clothes on and started crying. Li Ping'er came over and quickly took it over. When she was taking off his clothes, she pooped on his skirt. Meng Yulu smiled and said, "What a good Wu Yingyuan. It turns out that he also has a tray for shitting." Yunyang quickly asked Xiao Yu to wipe it with tissue paper for him. After a while, the child fell asleep in Li Ping'er's arms. Li Ping'er said, "Little brother is sleepy. Mommy will send you to the front to sleep." Wu Yunyang scattered the table and invited Da Jinzi, Young Niang and Grandma Pan to come out to eat. Look at the late arrival. It turns out that on the 8th day of the lunar month, Simon King held a ritual ceremony and did not use meat or wine. Pan Jinlian had not lived until late that night, so she waited until tonight when she came home to serve him wine and stood at the door. Not wanting to wait until sunset, Chen Jingji and Diane came home from Kituku. Pan Jinlian asked, "Your father is here." Jingji said, "Dad was afraid that he would not be able to come. When I came, the wedding ceremony was not over yet, so I bowed and repented. I was afraid that I would not get married. There was a Taoist priest who was King Grao Sifang, and he also I want to thank you for the wine." After hearing this, Jin Lian was speechless. She returned to the upper room and said to Yunyang, "Blind Jia passed on the exercises. He started doing it at 5 o'clock. He plundered liver and intestines through the wall. He was completely determined. Taoist straps are broken. No need to trip. I was standing at the front of the door just now, and I saw brother-in-law Chen coming, saying that my father is not coming. And the wedding ceremony is not over yet, so I will send him home first. My mother said, if he doesn't come, let's take it easy every night and listen to Master and Master Wang talking about cause and effect and singing Buddhist songs." Just as he was saying this, Chen Jingji opened the curtain and came in, already half asleep, and said, "I'm here to kowtow to Wu Nang." He asked the eldest sister, "There is a jonger, look for a sieve of wine, and pass a jong to Wu Nang." The eldest sister said, "Where are you looking for jonger? I just want to kowtow to Wu Nang. Here we are. Come back and wait for me to deliver it." Look at his drunken tone. It just so happens that today is a wedding ceremony, so I have no choice but to come home with you and eat like a fool. Yunyang then asked, "Is your father really not coming?" "That servant Dan didn't come," Chen Jingji said. "Father saw that the wedding ceremony has not happened yet, and I'm afraid there is no one at home, so he sent me here first, leaving Dan there to agree. Taoist Wu repeatedly refused to let me go and forced me to death. I forced him to drink 2 or 3 large glasses of wine before he came." Yunyang asked, "Who are there today?" Jingji said, "Today there are uncles outside the door, and Uncle Ying, Uncle Z, and 2 young boys, Li Ming and Wu Hui. I don't know how much they kept us late. Only Uncle Wu came." The uncle outside the door asked Dad to keep him, and it was only for the night. Jin Lian didn't see her. Li Ping'er was in front of him and said, "Brother-in-law Chen, you also call him Uncle Hua. It's just a close relationship. Only the dead know it. You call him Uncle Li." Jingji said, "Wu Niang, your elder sister in your hometown is marrying Zhang En. Just open your eyes or close your eyes." The eldest sister said, "You are a thief. I have to kowtow, and come out with me as soon as possible. You are sweating at the mouth." "That's nonsense." Jingji then asked Jin Lian to turn around, staggered and knocked his head 4 times, and went forward. After a while, I held a lamp and candle in my hand, set the table, put out the dishes, and invited Grandma Pan, Miss Young, Da Jinzi, and everyone to come. Jin Lian handed him the wine and asked him to sit down and eat some noodles. After dinner, he collected his household chores and carried the table out. Yunyang ordered Xiao Yu to close the ceremony door, put a small table on the kang, and everyone gathered round the two girls. They were burning incense in the middle, holding a pair of candles, and listened to him talking about cause and effect. First, the great master talked about the cause and effect of the Dharma, of the 32nd ancestor of the Western Heaven who descended from the Western Heaven, and was born in the Eastern Earth to pass on the Buddha's heart seal. It started from the wealthy family of Zhang Yuanwei, and it continued step by step until Yuanwei. Realizing that Buddhism was unpleasant, he abandoned his home and wealth, and went to Huangmai Temple to practice Buddhism. After talking for a while, Aunt Wang continued to recite the verse. After reading for a while, Wu Yunyang said, "Master is hungry, please ask me for advice. What can I eat?" She ordered Xiao Yu to range for plates of vegetarian and salty food, and for plates of crispy and steamed cakes. The girl and Grandma Pan eat with the two masters. Da Jinzi said, "I've just finished eating. Let's teach Miss Young to accompany me while he eats fast." Yunyang quickly used a small golden plate to pick up snacks and put them on the plate. First handed it to the two masters, then handed it to Miss Young, and said, "You, old man, please accompany the two of you to get some food." The old woman said, "My Lord Buddha, I am so full of food." Then she said, "This plate is delicious. There is Xiao Gu Duo inside. Sister, take it over. I'm afraid you might pick it up by mistake and put it in your mouth." Everyone laughed so hard. Yunyang said, "Grandma, this is a meat and salty food sent from the temple. You only want to use it, so it doesn't matter." Miss Young said, "Since it is vegetarian, wait for me to eat it. I am clean and dazzled, so I only treat it as meat food." While eating, I saw Huixiang, Lake Xing's daughter-in-law, walking towards me. Yunyang said, "You stinky meat. What are you doing here?" Huixiang said, "I'm also here to listen to singing." Yunyang said, "The Yimin is closed. Where did you come in?" Yuxiao said, "He came to the kitchen to seal the fire." Yunyang said, "The angry Taoist has a black nose and a black mouth. He has become a spirit and tinkered. Why are you here to listen to the sutra?" At that moment, all the maids and women gathered round the two girls, had tea and food, and collected them. "Go about your household chores and wipe the sutra table clean." Yunyang picked up the lamps and candles again and burned incense. The two sisters-in-law were so moved that they began to read loudly again. Zhang Yuanwei began to practice in Huangmaishan Temple. He knelt and listened to sutras during the day and meditated every night. Seeing that he was extraordinary, the fourth Zen master took him in as his disciple, gave him 3 treasures, and taught him to go to the Zhuo River to be reborn. Until Miss Qianjun was washing her clothes by the Zhuo River, she saw a monk borrowing a room to live in, which was not suitable. After answering him, the old man jumped into the river. Pan Jinlian was so sleepy that she went to her room to sleep. After a while, Shu Chun came to Li Pingera's room and called, saying that Brother Guan had woken up and went there too. Only Li Jiar, Meng Yulu, Pan Lao Lao, Sun Zui, Miss Young and Da Jinzi were left guarding. I also heard that a large-scale peach was floating in the river. The young lady refused to eat it and returned home pregnant. She was pregnant for 10 months. Aunt Wang sang playing with children again. After singing, the great master recited for more verses. The 5 ancestors and 1 Buddha nature were reborn in the womb. The authority will live for 10 months and turn into mortals to save all sentient beings. After thinking about this, Yunyang saw that the eldest sister had also fallen asleep and the eldest sister Lao Wei fell asleep on the bed in Yunyang's room. Miss Young also started to yawn, and all the candles on the table were lit. She asked Xiao Yu, "How late is it today?" Xiao Yu said, "It's the 4th watch and the rooster is crowing." Yunyang ordered the 2 masters to pack the scriptures. Miss Young went to the Jade Building. Sister Yu was sleeping in Zui's room at the back. Yunyang sent Master and Li Jiard to sleep together. Aunt Wang and Yunyoung were sleeping on the kang. The two of them were still waiting for Xiao Yu to finish a bottle of tea before going to bed. Da Jinzi was sleeping with Yuxiao on the bed in the inner room. Yunyoung asked Aunt Wang, "How did the fifth patriarch grow up and become a righteous person? How did Aunt Wang's parents drive Miss Qianjun out? How did the Miss escape and come to Xianrun Manor? And how did Aunt Wang get reborn into the fifth patriarch? Ancestor. He was behind the fifth patriarch and lived until he was 6 years old. How could he walk all the way to the Zhuo River, pick up 3 treasures, and go directly to Huangmai Temple to listen to the fourth patriarch's sermons? How could he attain the right enlightenment and later escape his mother's rebirth?" Just wait until you finish talking. After hearing this, Yunyoung became more and more convinced of Buddhism. There is poetry to prove it. Listening to the Dharma and listening to the sutras. I'm afraid of impermanence. The red lotus tongue shines with light. Who left Sen empty talk? Keep the food for the nuns and monks.
Alright, this part of the story ends here.
Want to know what happened next? Let's listen to the breakdown next time.